How's it going, everybody? It's Nick Chino here with you for another rock album review for the new album from Tom Morello. It's called The Atlas Underground. We all know Tom Morello for his work with Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave, as well as his solo project, The Night Watchman, and he's one of the best riff rockers out there. He's written some of the best riffs of all time for Rage and Audioslave. He's a great guitar player. I've never really listened to too much of his solo material, so I was very much looking forward to The Atlas Underground. This is Tom Morello's first record under his own name, and it features tons of special guests, including Portugal the Man, Marcus Mumford of Mumford & Sons, Kay Flay, Gary Clark Jr., the Jizza and the RZA, and many more. Now, when it comes to Tom Morello's previous work, I really enjoy all of his work with Rage and Audioslave. He's like I said, one of the best riff rock guitarists of all time. He's written some amazing riffs, and he did a cameo in Iron Man in 2008. Yeah, he made a fantastic cameo in Iron Man, and this is really my first time kind of digging into Tom Morello's solo music outside of Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave and The Night Watchman and that kind of stuff. And he's kind of taking the Slash approach to this record. When Slash released his first solo album, he got tons of different people to come on and be special guests and collaborators, and Tom Morello is doing the same thing here, which is probably a good idea because he's a guitar player. I know he's sung some stuff in the past, but you know, he's just getting some different people to kind of take the reins on this album, and Tom Morello is at the core of this record. His guitar playing really is the centerpiece of this album, much like Slash's solo records, but you know what? I really wish there was more guitar. Yes, it could use a little bit more guitar, but he brings in so many other different elements and musical styles into this record. Obviously, hip-hop is a huge influence, as well as pop and electronica. He kind of runs the gamut on this album, and highlights for me included Battle Sirens, which was featuring Knife Party, which is an electronic duo, and it sounds like an Audioslave outtake mixed with electronica. It's a very, very cool mix. I enjoyed that a lot. Rabbit's Revenge, which is kind of like a new age Rage Against the Machine song that features MCs like Bass Nectar, Big Boy, and Killer Mike. It kind of, to me, sounds like, you know, maybe what Rage would sound like if they were making music in 2018, if they were still doing it. I wish Rage was still together, man. That would be awesome. You know what? And you know, just like Rage, this album maintains a little bit of a political message. It wouldn't be a Tom Morello album if it didn't have a political message, so I enjoyed that as well. Every Step That I Take with Portugal the Man pretty much just sounds like a Portugal the Man song with some Tom Morello guitar, but you know what? I dug it. We Don't Need You is another highlight on this album, featuring Vic Mensa, a good little hip-hop track, kind of like a good middle finger up in the air kind of song. Lucky One was a cool song, even though it features Kay Flay. I think she's a great artist, but I don't really like her voice all that much, so it was kind of a little bit grating for me on that song, but I still like the song itself. Where It's At Ain't What It Is. You can never go wrong with featuring Gary Clark Jr. That man is a treasure. All right, now to get to the lowlights for me, and I have to say, the rest of the record was kind of a low light for me. Find Another Way, which was with Marcus Mumford of Mumford & Sons. The song was weak, and I don't really like Marcus Mumford's voice. Sorry, Marcus. They got a new album coming out pretty soon. One Nation, which I thought was a boring instrumental that didn't go anywhere. There's a couple of instrumentals on this album. You know, if you're going to make an instrumental, you got to make sure that it's something special. It's got to have dynamics. It can't just be, it can be something that just kind of goes like this all the way through, but it's nice when instrumentals kind of take you on a little bit more of a journey. Vigilante Nocturno, a song that, you know, my website's called Vigilante Detective. You think that this song would be right up my alley, but it really didn't do much for me. You know, it's too bad because I really like the title. It's a good song, and, you know, kind of reminds me of my own website. And the thing about this album is that he takes all the different styles of his collaborators, kind of adds in his Tom Morello style, and that's what we get on the Atlas Underground. Also, it was a little bit of a learning experience for me because I wasn't totally familiar with all the artists on this album, so when I was kind of researching it and looking at all the different artists as I was listening to the record, it was a learning experience. I was learning more about artists that I wasn't familiar with, I was learning more about artists that I was familiar with, and so that was an enjoyable way to listen. Overall, there's some cool production on this album, there are some cool songs, but the songwriting is kind of weak. I was kind of hoping there would be some harder hitting material on this record. There are some cool vibes on this album, but not really good songs. And while I did enjoy the different styles on this record, the mixing of hip-hop and electronica, I do wish there was a little bit more rock on this album. For an album featuring Tom Morello, whose main calling card is being a great guitar player. It feels like there's not a heck of a lot of Tom Morello on this album. Like, I don't know what he was doing half the time. Was he sitting at the mixing desk? Was he just kind of producing this overall thing as opposed to being a central artist? There's a lot of electronic elements on this album, and I feel like I just needed a little bit more of Tom Morello's trademark guitar. And when it comes to the quality of the album, I thought it started out strong and then just went off a cliff. There weren't a lot of songs later on this album that I liked. So I'm going to give the new Tom Morello album, The Atlas Underground, a 5 out of 10. Alright guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you thought of this record in the comments below. I know a lot of Tom Morello fans. I've seen them on Twitter. I know a lot of hardcore Tom Morello fans are really liking this album. So let me know what you thought of the album. If you're a diehard Tom Morello fan, a Rage fan, an Audioslave fan, or just a casual fan, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to share it and subscribe to the channel. Check me out on social media at The Walking Nick and at VigilanteDetective.com. We'll check you out in the next rock album review. This is Chino, out.